So I've had the KLX for a decent while now. It is a really awesome motorcycle, but there is some things about it I don't really care for too much, like the taillight assembly. It is kind of awkward, and when you're all loaded up like this, going over bumps and technical stuff, you're definitely going to rub the tire against it. But in this video, we're going to be installing the Kemimoto Fender Eliminator kit. Alright, finally got a garage to work in after all these years. So, first order of business, gotta take off the cargo rack here. So, these little Allen bolts on each side have to pop out. If you don't have panniers in the rack, same thing still applies. This bolt right here has to come out, same thing of the other side as well. That bolt has to come out as well if you're not running panniers. Regardless, this bolt has to come out. Taking these out, taking your plastics off, take your seat off, all that jazz. Sometimes you have to actually shimmy if you can have a little bit of wiggle room, just kind of shimmy just a little bit to pop some of these bolts out. I covered this in grease to prevent corrosion. Let's get this seat off. There we go. So what I really like about this company, Kemimoto, is their instructions are super easy to follow. It's not stressful at all. Really good quality instructions here. Kind of very simple breakdown of everything. Alright, let's go ahead and get the plastics off. So for me to get my plastics off, I have to take my panniers off, which isn't that hard. I just have to take this bolt off, the bolt in the back right here, and this guy off. Once this left pannier is off, these little bolts, I'm pretty sure these are 8mm. They need to pop out as well. And then you can take your plastic off. Let's get that done now. So if you're running the Dirt Racks panniers like I was, it's basically a 13mm and a 10mm. Those bigger bolts are the 13, and then this guy's a 10. Same with the other side. That is a 10. And then these two are 10, and then you have like a 10mm nut underneath here. That needs to pop out as well. Alright, so we got the seat off, top rack panniers off. Now what's left is the plastic. So up front here we have an 8mm, and same thing on the exact other side too. Over her have an 8mm. So taking that off now. Alright, pop this guy out. That's fine. Pop that off. There we go. I think it would be wise if you put the hardware, if you can, just kind of put in there a few threads. Makes it a lot easier to remember where things are when you go to install these things. Alright, so we're basically moving on to step 4 now. So we're going to do the original bolts for the taillight assembly and then unplug the wires. I love the instructions, super simple, super easy to follow here. I have a handy dandy floodlight somewhere, but where that light is pointing, so this little bolt and this guy on the other side here, this guy needs to come off. And then also you have a little grommet right here. That looks like it needs to pop out as well. There's the other side of that little dowel grommet thing. So that just keeps this in place. That can literally just pop out. So let's do that now. Where that light is, push that out the back of the ratchet there. And now should be able to pull that out. There we go. And right now that we got the bolts out, we can take this little plastic piece off. I apologize, that is a mess. Let me take care of that. Alright, that's looking a little bit more presentable. So from what it's saying, you're gonna disconnect the wiring here. So it's one of these styles here. Just gotta push down, pop it out of the tab here. Cool. There's one, there's two, to really push down kind of hard on these tabs. Sometimes I'll use a flathead here. Do that right here. Get a little force on that. Oh, breaking that. There we go. Those are all disconnected now. These two got to come out, and then these little plastic dowel things need to pop up too. So just pull them up. That's all I got to do. Let's get these two bolts out right here. 8 mils on for these bolts. Yes, usually for most Japanese bikes, 10 mil, 8 mil, 12 mil, and 14 mil will go a long way. All right, now that everything is disconnected, all the wires, pull the original fender off. All right, so original fender is now off. Now we got to install the Kemimoto Fender Eliminator. Since I've owned this bike, I have never taken this taillight assembly off, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean this real quick, and on your end it'll be like a split second. All right, I got it cleaned up pretty good, so just gonna go through, just check the frame here, make sure there's no like broken welds or broken anything. On my other bikes, especially the T-dubs, this part of the bike or the subframe is notorious for like breaking, but I haven't heard any complaints on the KLX platform. But yeah, on my T-dubs over here, these things are notorious, the subframes are notorious for snapping, so especially if you have cargo strapped on it, and going over like a whole lot of bumps and stuff over time. All right, looks pretty straightforward using the original bolts. Now just shimmy your Kemimoto taillight assembly in, and looks pretty straightforward. Sweet. Just want to make sure stuff works before you just send it. Cool. I'm gonna hit the brake light. Oh, that is bright. If you're wondering how to mount the actual light onto the taillight piece here, inside of the box you have this little hardware, and it has like a square, almost flat plate. You can slide it into the little slots right there, push it down till it clicks, or pops, I guess, and then line it up with your holes. There you go. All right, got the one washer on. Let's not drop that, please. Okay, now we're gonna put these little nuts on here. Got the washer on with the nut. Now we're gonna tighten these down. So the size for these nuts, it looks small, but it's actually an 8 mil. It looks smaller than the 8 mil, but it is an 8 mil. I thought it was like a 6.5 or something, but I was wrong. Just because someone sends me a product, I don't really know exactly how everything goes, but luckily the instructions are pretty easy. And it's pretty straightforward too. You just gotta take your plastic off and then a bunch of little stuff. Nothing to stress about really. And it's not too hard to do. All right. We got our original spacers back in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these mounting bolts in now. All right, putting these two mounting bolts in. There's a company out there that wants to send me pneumatic tools or cordless drills. That would be awesome. Appreciate these companies sending me stuff because one, I get it for free, long story short, but two, I get to show you guys all these awesome stuff. It says route the wiring to the left side over here. There's a little hole on the bottom here to route things through. It's kind of honestly your preference at this point where you want to route it. First glance it looks kind of chaotic, but it's really not. So now we're just going to basically put the wires back together. So starting out with this wider one here, pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to connect one of blinkers. If it's not, I'll turn the bike on, do a little blinker test. If it's not for that side, I will just swap it. Simple as that. Not the end of the world. Turn the bike on. So left side. So we got to swap that. Not the end of the world. Okay, those are swapped. Let's do a little test. Left blinker. Cool. Right blinker. Cool. Also, it's not hyper flashing, so that is also cool too. You don't have to change out any relays or anything. All right, so I got the Kemimoto Fender Eliminator kit installed in place here. So what I did for the wiring is I had a loop just a little bit forward of the fuses here. Then I ran it right under the original wiring here just to keep it from not bouncing around. So that is my preference as of now. If I don't like it, I'll change it. I'll let you all know. But if you want to run a different routing, just keep in mind you're responsible for your own actions. So anyways, let's get everything back on. So basically everything but in reverse order from before. So let's get it added now. Alright, so got all the plastics on, seat back on, looking pretty sharp. I know my bike's kind of beat up, but yeah, this looks really good. So yeah, that looks sharp. I like that a lot. Alright, left blinker. Right blinker.